Now, our next presenting company is actually a recipient of the was actually a participant in the Commercialisation Australia program. The company is called AIMEDICS, and we've got the Executive Director, Mr. Peter Spencer, here to give you a bit of an introduction. AIMEDICS has developed the HyperMon, which is the world's first non-invasive nighttime low blood glucose management system. More than 11 million diabetic insulin users in the developed world suffer from bouts of dangerously low blood glucose levels several nights per month. So I'll let Peter tell more about the story. Please welcome Peter to the stage.
Thanks very much. I'm actually here representing Victor Skladnev, our CEO, who's currently in Europe involved in releasing our product in the first market, the UK. There's three main things I wanted to talk about today. Firstly, to give you a bit of a description of the problem that our product is looking to solve, and that's a problem for diabetics. And in essence, it's to do with controlling low blood glucose at night. And then describe our product and how it meets that unmet need, how it solves the problem. Then I'll move on to talking a little bit about the size of the market opportunity and AIMEDICS plans to capture part of that, or a large part of that opportunity. And then finally I'll talk a bit about the investment opportunity and how we believe it'll deliver a good return to our investors. So the problem first, people with diabetes, the major problem they face every day is trying to maintain good blood glucose control. So they're trying to keep it in a normal, healthy range. Unfortunately, the tools they have are fairly crude. So as their blood glucose rises, they have to inject themselves with insulin to bring it down. The blood glucose goes down too far, they eat carbohydrates, sugars to keep it up. If they exercise, that'll bring it down. If they get sick, that'll bring it down. As a result, they have a lot of troubles maintaining healthy glucose levels. And for much of the day, their glucose levels actually are either above or below the normal healthy range. Now, if they're above the range that's the healthy range, this typically doesn't cause major problems during the day, short-term problems, but over the long term it affects their blood vessels, and that can lead to major problems for them, including kidney disease, blindness, circulatory problems that lead to amputation. At the other end of the scale, however, where hyperglycemia occurs, that's below the normal level, there are major short-term issues, and these happen very quickly, and they happen as soon as the blood glucose goes down below that level. So the normal sort of level as shown here is around 4 millimoles. Once you get down to about 3, you can start sweating, you may start to feel a little bit drowsy and irritable. If you get down to about 2, you're in the region of severe hypoglycemia, where you typically would need assistance from someone to help you. If you stay down below that for too long, there's a potential for coma and death. So what people actually do to trade off these two risks is they tend to keep their blood glucose high, and most particularly at night they keep it high, because typically they're sleeping all the way through the night and they're not monitoring it. So in fact, the major barrier to good glucose control is the detection and management of hypoglycemia, because it's basically what causes people to keep their blood glucose high. There are currently no good tools for doing this, particularly overnight. The main way that people do it is to prick their fingers, draw blood and do a little test, a diagnostic test, because if you're sleeping through the night you can't do that. Our product, the HyperMon, has been developed to address this issue. So this is the HyperMon. Initially the market will be for young people with type 1 diabetes. So as you may know, there's type 1 and type 2. And we're looking at people who use insulin. So all type 1 diabetics use insulin, about 10% of type 2 diabetics. As you can see here, the device at there's a sensor with the little brown part on it there. That's our sensor. There's also a belt, and they're consumable portions of our device. They're worn at night. The sensor senses the patient's or the user's ECG and their heart rate, transmits it through this little, the little device at the front with a round section on it. That's signals and transmitted to the bedside monitor. The monitor can either be by the user's bed or in the parent's bed in the cases of young people with type 1 diabetes. The monitor then assesses the ECG and heart rate and detects when the heart rate is indicating that someone's having a hypoglycemic event and rings an alarm, wakes the person up during the onset of that and enables them to treat it before it becomes a problem. And we believe that this product, by helping people manage their glucose, will provide them with more confidence to better manage their blood glucose at normal levels. So, just going over a few issues to do with our product. First, it's patented. It's non-invasive, which is really important for these people, particularly young people who are already having to stick themselves with needles. It's a continuous system and only wakes people up if there's a problem. We've done a lot of clinical studies in a major centre in Australia with one of the world leaders in hypoglycemia. Just to give you an idea of the accuracy, if you wanted to get the same level of accuracy using the current process, which is finger pricking, you'd have to set your alarm every 2 hours to wake up at night, and of course no one's going to do that for the rest of their life. So the features of our product, we believe, will deliver a couple of benefits. Firstly, and most obviously, it's the ability to better manage their blood glucose because they're picking up low blood glucose and therefore able to bring their average blood glucose down. And secondly, there's a large problem for parents and their kids with depression and anxiety related to constant fear when they go to bed of a potential hypoglycemic event, and we believe that our product will give them a safer night's sleep and more confidence. In terms of the market opportunity, our first market, as I mentioned, is in the type 1 area. There's about 3 million people in the markets that I've shown there. We undertook a large independent market research survey in the US using a company called Mark, and they found that there was a very high interest in purchase for a product like this, indicating a big unmet need. They indicated that potentially there was a possibility to gain up to 24% penetration rate into that market. The US market they determined was worth about $1.4 billion, leading to our estimate of $2.8 billion worldwide. That's just in these markets. Then going on from that, there's large additional markets for the rest of the type 1 group and also the insulin using type 2 people in those same markets. As I mentioned, about 10% of type 2 people use insulin, and they add up to a bit over 8 million people. So all up, it's around 11 million potential market users. We've been in discussions with potential strategic partners and believe there's significant interest there. I think they're just waiting to work with us as we go through our early launch process. And we believe, taking all this together, the market size, our product, the large unmet need, that we're well positioned to provide investors with a good exit, either through IPO or working with strategic partners. So what's our current status? We've raised over $12 million. One of our major investors, GBS Ventures representative, Steve Goulet, is here today. We've got a strong patent position. We have European CE mark, which enables us to sell throughout Europe. We've recently launched our product from a UK base, and we're focusing on UK sales. About a week ago, we got our Australian TGA approval, and we've also started the process in Australia and have some sort of advanced pre-sales already here. We've also importantly had some discussions, a number of discussions with the FDA about our approval process over there. As you know, it can often be quite expensive, but we've reached agreement with them that we're able to use our current clinical data as evidence of safety and efficacy of the device, and that the only new studies we'll need to do relate to usability factors and human factors, which are actually relatively minor compared to the first one. So we believe that positions us well for a fairly quick approval process and a cheap process. These are our revenue projections. Our model's based around basically a distributor model where we sell ourselves directly into Australia and UK. Initially, we'll be building our reference sites, building our early sales, building up our key opinion leaders, and also training our distributors in the European market. We expect to get US approval towards the end of 2014 and start selling into that market at that stage. Our investment proposal, we're looking to do a $15 million Series B funding. The current shareholders and a few other interested parties are intending to participate in that. I've gone over much of the things that we're going to be looking to do with that money, and as I said, we believe that provides us with a good way of providing a good exit and money for our key investors. So if there's any questions, please talk to me later, or as I mentioned, Steve Goulet is here representing GBS and be happy to also talk to you about any questions. Thanks.